It's a mobile game! Jack, how excited are you to play Five Nights on the Nostradamus, or whatever it's called? Are you pumped? Are you excited? How do you feel about Alien Blackout?
Makes me depressed.
It's the game that you wanted. It's exactly what you wanted, isn't it? Tell me. Tell me all about it.
As a fan of Alien Isolation, and I'm sure you are, one of the most incredibly crafted games ever, because it's so scary we don't want to play it. Mm-hmm. Which is why we want a sequel very badly, and why we got a bit excited when they're like, "Oh, Alien Blackout," you know, it's they might be teasing it soon. That's what we've heard. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Is this a sequel we've been waiting for? Is this it? I don't know if this is like set during the game of Isolation. It's like a little mini game or something, or a lost chapter thing, or if it's like a new little story where she goes to some different space station where there happens to be an alien on that one as well. Who fucking knows? Who really cares, to be honest?
This? Wait, hold on. Who's making this? Who is making
I don't really give a shit, to be honest. I don't care. I just want it to go away.
I can't see because I've got this all fucking IGN fucking annotations all over the screen. Who made it before? I don't think it's the same people who made Isolation. Creative Assembly made Isolation. Well, it's not them, at least. At least that's... So maybe this is like the build-up. Maybe this is like a little teaser game, maybe.
So I'm hoping that it's just like a little thing to sort of build up a bit of hype again.
Yeah, that's fallen flat, hasn't it, if that is the case. What is your... what's your realistic thoughts if this is a little teaser game? So is this out now? Or is it about to drop?
January 24th.
January 24th. Okay, so what day? So like 2 weeks or so. Okay. Okay, right, yeah, so realistically, 2 weeks from now, this game drops. It's out for... Actually, okay, let's say it this way. It drops in 2 weeks. If you complete the game, you unlock a little teaser. Very PT-esque, I guess. That's probably where they're taking their marketing ambition from. And then it reveals a trailer for the actual next Alien game, which Creative Assembly have been making. 1, can you get behind that? 2, does that take away some of this backlash that they're getting? And 3, how likely is that to happen, in your opinion?
I mean, that's what when I saw it, I was hoping that's what it was. That not necessarily the PT thing. I didn't think of that, but I was like, maybe it's just something to hold us over for now, build up hype again. If it is the idea that they're going to hide a teaser in it, I'd be like, that's fair enough, good idea. I don't know how well it's going to work. Whether they could have just put a trailer on YouTube, because everyone's just going to watch it on YouTube. No one's going to actually play this because the like to dislike ratio on this video, it's pretty good. It's only got 100,000 views on IGN, but it's got 9,000 dislikes to 2.3 likes. 2.3 thousand likes, not just 2.3 likes.
It's interesting though, because we've mentioned PT there, and the PT obviously like playable trailer. That was for Silent Hill.
Is that what that stood for?
There was a big... Why do you do a gaming show? Yeah, it was a playable trailer. And then when you completed PT, you got the reveal, didn't you, of Norman Reedus, and then it came up with Silent Hills. That was why there was so much buzz about it. 1, because it was an incredible teaser, like it was an incredible game on it by itself, but then it revealed Silent Hills, which everybody got really hyped up about. And then Norman Reedus, and then it was Kojima and Del Toro, what's his fucking name? Del Toro. They had all teamed up like this trilogy, which for some reason they really all want to work together. But yeah, that was the big hype behind it. And it's impressive how nobody since then has taken that approach when it comes to revealing a game. So maybe this is the first... I mean, we're cutting them a lot of slack here. I mean, in the back of my head, I'm like, this is all bullshit. Like, it's just a cheap, playable mobile game.
It's Five Nights at Freddy's, and the name comes from the idea that you're going to have occasional blackouts, which means you're going to have no power.
Okay, right. Next up, it's the big gaming story, which everybody is going to be covering this week, so I guess we'll have to. Bungie splits from Activision, but maintains all of the rights to Destiny. Now, this is going to be quite difficult for us to talk about, because neither of us play Destiny. I don't think either of us are big Activision fans, but obviously you have some form of a stake of investment in Bungie as a whole. What are your thoughts about this whole shenanigan?
For the one hand, I think it's quite interesting that the developer is split from their publisher but kept all the rights to their game. I don't know if we've ever seen that.
That is interesting.
So basically, they start off by saying that when they first launched their partnership with Activision in 2010, the gaming industry was in a pretty different place. They basically talk about how they wanted to make Destiny, and they killed the idea for Destiny, and then they wanted someone to basically give them money to make it. And they've sort of said that now the transition's underway. They're going to keep working on Destiny, keep making Destiny, but they haven't really given a reason why they're dropping Activision, or Activision's dropping them. And they say they're going to publish it themselves now.
I think that's a good move on Bungie. This is what I mean. It's interesting how neither party, because usually when there's a breakup, etc., one party would blame the other because they would have come off worse, so they would shit the other one. But that's not happened here, or hasn't happened yet either. And because they're both two giants of the industry as well, to just walk away, nothing is said. It would be very interesting to be a fly on the wall. But going forward, do you think? Because I mean, Bungie were sort of top dogs before Destiny came about. You know, what was the last Halo game that they worked on? Was it Reach or? Yeah, so all critically acclaimed. Like the original Halo trilogy was really good. Even ODST and Reach got to critical acclaim. So I remember when they went into this deal, it was at like, I can't remember what game event it was, but I remember hearing about it. And I remember hearing it was a 10-year deal and they wanted to make Destiny a 10-year franchise, and I was like, oh my god, that just sounds fucking awful. And you know, it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. But I think Bungie lost a lot of reputation over the last couple of years. As a previous Bungie fan, are you at least looking forward are you going to pick up, or would you be more persuaded into more confident, that's the word, would you be more confident in that company sort of developing again on their own terms?
I mean, obviously Halo 1, 2 and 3. Halo 3 is my favourite game. They're incredible games that they made. Bungie, yeah, we're not into it, but you can't deny it's a good game, I guess, I don't know, maybe. But there's a lot to it. They've got a really good sort of creative aesthetic that I like. The whole sort of the space thing they do, it's brilliant. I think this isn't because they're taking Destiny with them. I think they're just going to keep being Destiny. I think they're just going to become the Destiny guys.
See, it's interesting because the business deal that Activision had with Bungie on this, it was basically Bungie said, right, we'll make the game, Activision will fund it. Activision wanted them to do this many updates per year because they wanted to keep on seeing a return. Which put stress and strain on Bungie. So to keep Activision happy, they developed a roadmap which would plan out for the year. They could plan out everything, and then the players knew, the investors knew, everybody was happy. Unfortunately, Bungie just couldn't keep up with the amount of content that was being squeezed out of them by Activision, which is ultimately why Destiny turned up in the fucking news all the time, and how it would increase prices or unbalance the game. It would just rip off its players, etc. And then they would miss their content updates. But then Activision would always squeeze more. So when you look at it from that perspective, it is a very hostile sort of environment. And it's just this surprise that nobody's shit-talking the other one. I want to know, especially, what the terms were for Bungie to keep everything, to not lose Destiny at all. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop Destiny now and then just like fuck it, because it turned into more of an Activision title, because where the amount of content that was forced upon them to produce, and they were forced down certain corridors of development that they probably wouldn't want to go into because they didn't have the resources for it. So why would you even plan to go down that way? I can see Bungie just dropping Destiny altogether. I think they'll support it for another 6, maybe 9 months, and then I think it will go. And then I think Bungie are going to disappear for about a year or two before they come out at E3 as sort of a self-published title where they'll be back on top. They'll be fighting to get everybody back, which I think will be successful. But it's just interesting. I was reading this morning that something like a deal like this with two giants of this size amicably separating and walking away from each other on this scale hasn't happened before in the industry. So interesting. It's a bit more of a business talk, but
I don't think they will drop Destiny. I think that's the least likely thing they'll do is drop Destiny. I mean, it makes them a lot of money. It's got a big community behind it. It's got a big following. Like, yeah, it's Activision got their little paws over it and sort of, you know, muddied it up a bit, but they're not going to stop with it. Like, they're just going to keep going because they've got a lot of dedicated fans. So why are they going to?
I'm not saying they're going to. I'm not saying they're going to drop it like tomorrow. I think they're going to be like, right, we've got 6 months to a year, let's say, to sort of get it on track, get it to what they want, like do actual projects in it that they would want to do, put the content in that they wanted to make, and get their vision actually into it. But we don't know if that's too far gone or not. And I just think Destiny is almost, it's not a dirty word in the games industry, but I don't know anybody who plays Destiny. I only ever hear about it on like podcast shows or when it's in the news. Like I don't know anybody who plays it. But I do know it has a massive player base, etc. But it's expected to be in the news at this point, and not for good reasons. So I think maybe from a marketing point of view, or just like as damage control, really, Bungie might want to separate themselves. And there's no better time than now when Activision have obviously taken the split. So distance themselves from them, distance themselves from Destiny as a whole, and then just create something new, start from the ground up.
Yeah. We got some Battlefield 5 sales news.
Oh no.
What's oh no?
Go on, walk me through it. I just saw that headline.
So yeah, 1 point estimate. These are estimates, by the way. These are from VGcharts.com. These are estimates. So remember estimates. It's an important word here. First of all, it's estimated that in the first week they sold 1.4 million units. Which, I mean, if you think about it, it sounds impressive. It's like, oh, you sold 1.4 million copies of your game. Well done.
No, that's not sound impressive.
Yeah, but just think in general, just, you know.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, we haven't got, you know, we've got like 10 people watching our channel, not even that. So, 1.4 million people giving them money for something they made, that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then we have a look at the rest of the Battlefield franchise, and we find that it's Battlefield 5, ironically, is in 5th position. Behind fucking Hardline, which is incredible. I did play Hardline. I didn't get it on launch. I played it a few months later when it was like a tenner or something. Yeah, so the fucking game that wasn't even developed by them. It wasn't even, no one expected it to be any good. It wasn't any good. It was made by Visceral that didn't even want to make it. It sold more copies than Battlefield 5.
Well, that's what you get for fucking telling people to not buy your game. Like, what the fuck were they expecting? What were they expecting? A breakdown, PlayStation 4, 59% compared to 38% on Xbox One. Jesus Christ. Dude.
What I also have to say is look at Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 is at the top with 4.68 million. None of the others have reached 6 million. 3 million, sorry.
That is interesting, actually.
Battlefield 1 was the closest at 2.8 million. But since Battlefield 3, none of them have come close.
It's interesting how they peaked 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you talk about it, when you have a list like this, it's sort of easy to be like, oh, well, like Bad Company 2 was really good, and then Battlefield 3 was obviously the best one because it's the most refined, etc. And then, yeah, you can literally go through, you can be like, yeah, Battlefield 1 was really good, but it wasn't as good as 3. 4, I personally thought was really good, but it wasn't as good as 3. But when you look at it in actual sales numbers, the fact that they've not even come close. Like, yes, like you say, they've not even hit 3 million for the past 8 years. What do you think the future is going to be for DICE? Because I remember with Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, they were seen that they were one of those companies. They were almost sort of like BioWare were before, obviously Andromeda and whatever. But they were held to such. They were put on a pedestal. And I remember that everybody sort of like sucking them off at the time, being like, DICE are like the go-to for shooters. Yeah, you have Call of Duty developers and whatnot, but DICE know what they're doing. And it wasn't just like it was good gunplay, it was like the amount of customization they put in, the small details, the sound design. DICE were held to such a high standard because they always delivered. And it seems since they've jumped into bed with old EA, that's sort of been sucked out of them. And the fact that Battlefield 5 has performed so terribly, even before it came out, like even all of the marketing, everything about Battlefield 5, we've said it before, nothing has ever been good about Battlefield 5 when there's been a headline about it. Should DICE sort of be worried? Can we see them, how far into the line towards EA's infamous chop and block are they? How many companies deep are they, do you reckon, before they're in serious danger?
I think EA aren't going to get rid of them just yet. They've still got. The thing is, though, they've tried to replicate Battlefield with a different studio. They tried that with Hardline, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
So I think they know that they need DICE if they want to keep Battlefield, because Battlefield is their Call of Duty killer.
But are EA going to be looking at this now and be like, well, even another company performed better than your last best effort to DICE?
They need DICE. DICE has got the community name. I think if they drop DICE, they
Does
drop the community
BioWare still
name.
have its community name?
No, but I think it's different for single player and multiplayer games.
This has been a very negative episode. I feel all we've done is just shit on there's been no good news at all.
The Metro trailer. That's very good news.
You didn't want to talk about that, you just
No,
said.
I said I wanted to. You said we should do it in a
Alright.
separate video, and I said no, that'd be stupid. It's not big enough for that.
Alright, let's chuck it in. We're end on a high if nothing else pops up. Do you want to talk about the Metro Story trailer? I saw you tweet about this, so it's clearly got you excited because you don't tweet about anything.
because last time they replied to my tweet, and I wanted to see if they would again, but they didn't.
Bless you, bless you.
But yeah, the Metro Story trailer came out. Looks good, doesn't it?
I have to say it's probably my, I don't know, I was going to say nostalgia, but that's not the right word for it. That shot at the beginning where she takes off her mask, she's clearly just emerged from the Metro, etc. That looks fucking cool. I really like that. That gave me a proper kick to Fallout, like how it was meant to be, etc. I'm very interested in this game. And I remember I said to you last week, if not the week before, that I was going to go back and play the old Metro games before jumping into this. I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to wait and have this as my first.
No, jump into them.
Because
you still have time. You still have time.
This looks really good.
It does,
really
and that's why you have time to play the others.
No, I don't, because it's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same.
I've seen too much of this to go back. This will have to really, really impress me for me to go back. Do you think this is going to be sort of you come out of the Metro, Russia was hit the hardest, so they're sort of last to emerge, or other countries and stuff weren't hit as hard, so they've been back on surface level much earlier, so they've sort of established their own little towns and stuff again, and now you've got these Metro dwellers coming back, and it's going to be that sort of Mad Max-esque tribe against tribe sort of mentality, whilst these new Russians try to find their place in the world, I guess.
I think what I know from the book world is, I'm not completely 100% sure, but I remember reading it somewhere that the guy who wrote it, Dmitry Gulukovsky, he basically opened up the world and was like, if you want to write a story in this world, then come post it on this website, and then we'll put it down as canon. So there's all these little short stories people have written about people living on oil rigs during this, and up in the cold north and in London and stuff. I'm trying to find it again. I can't remember where it was, but so yeah, there's in the story world, there's other. So I think the whole world got fucked up basically, and there's other little pockets of civilization, and obviously the Metro, the Moscow guys, because obviously Moscow Metro is a big nuclear bunker, so that's obviously where they went and hid. That's just their story from the people of the capital of Moscow, and you're coming out, and we've already witnessed that we meet those guys on the bridge from E3 in the E3 trailer. Don't know what happened to them or what they were hiding. I'm guessing Kazakhstan, there probably is people in sort of more rural areas, obviously where, like you said, it didn't get hit as hard, because why would you nuke Kazakhstan? There's nothing there. All it is just space launches. They just launch rockets there for go to space. So you didn't hit Moscow. You wouldn't waste a nuke on Kazakhstan. So it's probably.
See, it's interesting because as somebody who hasn't played the games, again, I mentioned before, I've played like an hour or so of one of them and I didn't really like it. But I've got more world building out of this trailer and the E3 one. Granted, that was gameplay as well, but this does seem like a fully flushed out world. And that was my issue with the previous Metro games because it just looks like a corridor, dark underground.
You didn't get far enough into it.
I know, but I'm talking as somebody on the outside. This is how people will view this franchise. That's how I saw it. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who just saw it as a corridor shooter set underground. That's its gimmick. Whereas this one, I've got so much sort of world building just from the two main trailers that we've got that I'm fully invested to go in. Absolutely. I just think it's such an interesting concept. One one that has been done before, but they've sort of the style they've gone for, the aesthetic, I guess, of a post-nuclear war world. It has been done before, but the Metro version of it looks original enough to bring in new fans.
It's quite darker than what we're used to, because obviously, annoying that you haven't gone into the other games, you don't know all this stuff, but like, it's really, you know how like Fallout you just wander around and stuff.
Yeah.
This way, it's really fucking irradiated. You can't go outside in Moscow without wearing a hazmat suit and a gas mask, so you've got to constantly be looking for filters and changing them when you're outside. And like all this world building shit you missed, like how instead of having towns that are formed, the towns are formed at the train stations, the underground stations. So they'd be called like, you know, Moscow Central or whatever, or whatever the fucking train station's called is what their town's called, and they all travel through the tunnels, and that's how they get everywhere. And there's a ghost train at one point in the first game, and it's mad shit. It's mad shit. It's a really dark, apocalyptic world.
Do I download it and play it today? Is that what I do?
I'm really tempted to just blast through them both again before next month.
I'll do you a deal, Jack. I'll do you a deal. I will download it the second we stop recording if you edit this week.
You owe it to yourself to play it as a story player fan.
Again, you've got me there as a story player. Do you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's end the episode here. We'll end on a fucking positive because this has been quite a depressing episode. I'm fucking tired as fuck as it is. So let's end now. I'll go play Metro and I'll get back to you next week with what I thought of it.
Metro, right? Metro.
Jack's excited. Right, if you made it to the end of the episode, then thank you very much for watching. You fed my ego for the day. Jack, did they feed your ego?
No.
No, never did. Don't think you fed my ego today either. I'm too fucking tired. My energy is just so low. I've got nothing.
It doesn't sound very low.
We'll see you next week.